Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the institutional student orientation that is taking place over the next 2 days. And allow me to greet you wherever you are coming from and having made time to join us on this very important event. We understand that there are many competing responsibilities on your side, but you saw it fit that you could join us today. My name is Lekau Rachidi, and I'm from the Student Retention Unit, a unit that has been established specifically for you. And what I mean by that is that all of its programs are aimed at making sure that you have a soft landing into this new environment at this very august university, by making sure that all of those programs are tailor-made just for your first experience to be as smooth as possible, but also to make sure that the rest of your journey here at Unisa is as successful as you are hoping it to be. Allow me first, before we get into the program, to introduce to you Professor Magano, who is the acting executive director for the Department of Tuition Support and Facilitation of Learning, and she will be doing the opening and welcome address. Professor Magano, if you are ready, the floor is yours.
Good day, Dr. Rachidi, the program director, and our dearest students of Unisa. I just want to say this is really an exciting moment of having Unisa students with us. I just want to share my slides now. Are you sharing, Dr. Rachidi?
They are showing, Prof, on the screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. From my side, I do not see them.
If you're able to share, Prof, on your end as well, please,
okay.
you can do so.
I think that will be the best if I share from my side so that I'm able to follow. And let me just say to the dearest students of Unisa, welcome to the University of the Land, the University of South Africa, the university that enabled us to be able to learn and to be where we are. I'm saying this because this university enabled me immediately after matric to be here to study my junior degree, the honors, and then for masters, I went to the University of Pretoria, but I came back for PhD. Why? This university accommodates the poor. This university accommodates those who are working and those who are not working. This university is accessible. And I want to say, you did not make a mistake by coming to university because you are able to multitask. You are able to do a number of things while you are studying with this university. I want to say, in the student walk, where we are looking at the 4-journey walk of a student, the first thing that we are looking at is that you become a student who's applying, registering. Then the second walk, you are able to make sure that your registration is a success. The third stage, we teach you, we enable you to become a student that is able to see support. And this is where student retention comes into the picture. Your regional offices come into the picture, and also the counseling division and many other sources like UpSuite, where you are going to get help as a student who has a disability. The library is also there to assist you. The module lecturer is there to assist you. Now, today's session is going to give you a platter where you are going to look at a number of resources that are going to help you as a Unisa student. This university is a 150-year university. It didn't just teach me only and a few, but it taught also President Rolihlahla Mandela, our former president, who was of a remarkable note, a speaker, a leader, a person who was resilient in so many things. So you are joining a multitude of people who were able to receive the best education in the country. Therefore, I can say a warm welcome. Listen carefully, take notes where you can, and I hope this session is being recorded. And Program Director, I want to commend you and your team, the student retention team and the regions, for organizing such a powerful session for our students. You're welcome at Unisa, and there are many, many resources for support to ensure that you stay as a first year, you go to second year, third year, and you graduate and become a Unisa alumni, so that you are also counted amongst the number of academics, professionals in the country, away from this country, the global citizen who amassed knowledge from the University of the land. Welcome to Unisa. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you, Professor Mahano, for the warm welcome address, reminding us who are in the institution about the important aspects, but also informing the students about the kind of journey that they are embarking along with those that you have mentioned at this great African university. Ladies and gentlemen, the first item that I would like to talk to is in the way of house rules. You may have seen some of those flighted just before we officially started. The chat box is available. Do not be alarmed. We will open it at a later stage. That is the first important announcement. So we will be able to post your questions. We'll be able to respond to them. I have with me colleagues from different pockets of the institution that are part of today's program who will be able to assist in response to your inquiries. Please feel free to engage. We'll be having polls running, first few in the beginning of the event, and a few again at the end of the event, just to be able to get you to interact with us, with our program, but also to give us some form of feedback. So you should be able to do your screen grabs as the presentations are going on. You should be able to be finding in the chat frequently asked questions to respond to many of the questions you have. We'll be posting links to the many resources that Professor Mahano spoke about, so that you leave this event with all the tools that you will need throughout your journey. Thank you very much, Prof, for that opening address. Second of all, I want to just indicate that many of you are attending this session for the third time. And this session, I'm talking about the institutional student orientation. The first student orientation that you attended was through the FYE MOOC 101 that you had to do when we were asking you to complete it before you accept your offers, to say this is the type of university that you are going to enroll in. This is what you can expect, and this is the kind of support that will be provided, and asking the question, are you ready? And you responded and you said, yes, I am ready by accepting your offers. And then we had the second student orientation, which we held on the 30th of November, where we called you to come in online and asked you to be with us as we were orientating you about the application process. We took you through the application, rather the registration process, the do's and the don'ts. We did a live demo. We also had colleagues from student funding to say these are the different types of funding that you can get in order to finance your studies and all the related processes. In that event, we also had career and counseling colleagues whom we said you were already at that stage allowed, if I can use that word, to contact them should you need any form of support prior to you registering. And we are meeting today after you have successfully registered with us, whether your registration status is still temporary registration because you are still sorting out the finance with the funding establishments or from those who are going to be doing that for you. But we saw it fit that even if your status is still like that, that you can join us and benefit from these interactions today. We also are coming to you today online at the back of the official opening that happened at the beginning of at the end of last week on Friday, where the principal and the vice chancellor of this university did that official opening. So we are meeting for the third time. Many of you have received so many communication from us. Please keep your eye on those communications that we have been sending throughout, and you'll be getting many of these throughout your journey here. On to the program, ladies and gentlemen. The first presentation that is going to be flighted will be led by Ms. Zianda Febana, who is a colleague in the Student Retention Unit, and she will be rendering that particular item, telling you about some of the programs that the Student Retention Unit is providing. As she prepares to come on, for those who are seeing the screen, we have been joined by Ms. Mabaso Sophie, who is doing sign language interpretation for us. Thank you very much for joining us. We are grateful that you could do so. Ms. Febana, the floor is yours.
Good day, and thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen with everyone quickly.
While she's sorting the technical issues on her side, please just check on the chat. You will see that we have posted the first chat, and please just complete that for us in the meantime.
Thank you, colleagues. I'm going to try and share again my screen with you. Please let me know if you can hear the video that I'll be playing for you. Can you see my screen before I continue?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be playing the video.
Taking you through the resources that we have to ensure that you have a successful first year experience. How do our resources do this? Well, through our first year experience program, FYE in short, the SRU aims to extend support to students entering Unisa for the first time, provide essential information at crucial point the student journey. I'm going to show you exactly how you can become a successful first-year student. Let's go. On behalf of Unisa and the SIU, I would like to welcome you and wish you a great and successful student journey.
Thank you, Khalid. That will be it from the SRU.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It seemed like some of the students were obstructed by the poll that was up there, but I'm sure they were able to follow with the subtitles that were there. That link, ladies and gentlemen, will be posted on the chat just so that you are able to go through it once more on your own. At this stage, I want to just share something with you, ladies and gentlemen, which is to unpack a little bit of what was touched on in the video. In the video, you heard about the MOOCs, and I've already made some reference to it. I just want to indicate that when you are a registered Unisa student, we have made attempts to try and link you to all of the sites where you will be able to get more information and resources. And for those of you who, when you go to My Modules after having claimed your MyUnisa logins, you should be able to find FYE 1600 SPDAT. You should also be able to find amongst your registered modules FYE 1500. You should also be able to find first year experience support site. And if for any reason you are not able to see any of these three, 1500, 1600, and the FYE support site, there are links that are currently being posted on the chat so that you can be able to enroll yourself for those three particular MOOCs. So we'll be doing this throughout the orientation today and providing you with all of those resources for you to take home with. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item is going to be rendered by Ms. Lizelle Stemet as she prepares to join and share her screen. She is from the Directorate Student Applications and Registrations, and she is going to be taking you through some of the processes, and I'm sure you are eager to find out about this so that you can be able to, on the chat, ask questions that she can be able to respond to after she has finished presenting, but she'll be doing a live demonstration on the number of processes that await you in the near future so that you are fully prepared should you come across such instances. Over to you, Lizelle.
Thank you. Good morning and, well, actually good afternoon and very welcome to today's session. I really hope that you find many of the answers here. I just want to share my screen with you. I hope that you can see. Can everybody see my screen? Let's just try again. So I just need to. This is now the day that okay, yeah, and everybody seeing my screen. Good, looks like that. So I'll be doing a live presentation from the website as many students, when they get to the website, for some reason, it's overwhelming and students don't know where to go, what to do. So hopefully after today, you'll be a bit more comfortable, if I can put it that. So on the MyUnisa screen, when you want to log into your MyUnisa, you type in your username and then your password. And click on login. So you will see your name reflected there. I'm using a colleague's MyUnisa with her permission, as I'm not currently registered in there, thus I don't have access to MyUnisa. So there are a number of things we can do here. First of all, you can go to My Modules. If you click on that, let's just wait for it to load. It shows all the modules that you are currently registered for. So if you click on your module, there's a welcome message from your lecturers, etc., etc. If you click on My Admin, under Student Admin, you can view your academic record. In this, it will show all the qualifications that you've previously been registered for. Will show qualification completed, final year student, whatever the case might be. Let's in this case look at, it shows the years in which you were registered, the modules, description of the modules, marks, etc., etc. You can email to yourself the courses passed, with or without marks. You can email your academic record to yourself. Very often we find students inquiring us to email an academic record. You can actually do it for yourself on the website under My Admin. You can apply for exemptions. If you have already submitted your application for exemption, it will tell you you have already submitted an exemption application. If you want to make an amendment, this is the email address to send it to. So it is very, very, very easy and very user-friendly. If you want to change your biographical details, that's biographical. It's like your telephone number, your contact numbers, your address. You can change it all here. So you can check if your details are correct. And if you see anything that is not correct, you can say, for instance, update the address detail and change your postal address. Continue. Change your address to whatever and click on Advisor's Assistance or to continue. Let's just do that. If you do so, you have to tick the relevant box. If it's unticked, you will find that you cannot submit. So if you are sure that the address information that you have provided is correct, you simply click on submit. Or if you see, oh my goodness, there's something incorrect, you simply click on cancel. Take out whatever is wrong, click on continue, and click on submit. See here, submit is grayed out until you click that box, and then you may submit. See it updating, and it is live, it is already updated. If you want to update your contact details, you can change your telephone numbers there, your email address. Please keep in mind that all official correspondence can only happen from an official MyLife email address. So when emailing the university, do it from your MyLife and ensure that your student number is captured in the subject line so that we know which, yes.
So my apologies to interrupt. It looks like on the YouTube side, there is the poll obscuring their view. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, that you can maybe remove it if it's there. Or is it not?
No, the poll is not showing on my side.
Okay. Okay, that is fine. That is fine. Please go ahead. We'll try and sort it out in another way. Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay. Thank you. Good. So to continue, like I said, if you email Unisa, please do so from your MyLife email address and make sure that your student number is captured in the subject line so that at least we know which student we are working with, and it's easy to access your records and assist as soon as possible. If you're sure that everything is done, you click on submit. All right, in this instance, I didn't change anything. Physically, I don't want to mess around with the details. All right. You can update your examination center. As you know, exams are happening online now. So there's only two options not applicable, only thesis, that's for postgraduate studies, and online exams. Click on request, and the exam center was because there's only one option. Okay. Also under My Student Admin, there's digital access centers. You can access. Please, if you do so, select one in the area where you stay. If you stay in Gauteng, then select one in Limpopo. Select a relevant one. This instance, it will be Gauteng. All right. And you can then click on Start your Telecenter visit. Also under my admin, enroll for tutoring classes. It will reflect the modules for which tutoring classes are offered. In this instance, it's this module. And if you click on enroll, it will then enroll you for the tutor classes, and the tutor center will be in contact with you with details. Students who are in their final semester. Now, final semester means that it's the semester in which you can complete your qualification. And as this is a live system, it accesses in the background, it checks whether or not you are in fact in your final year. In this instance, she is not in a final year, and you will get the message that you are not in your final semester and may not apply for additional modules. Now, the rules of Unisa state that you may register for a maximum of 10 modules per academic year. That may only be exceeded if you are in fact in your very last semester. To complete your degree, you may apply to exceed the maximum by maximum 2. So either if it's in your last semester, you may register for 5 modules. You may apply to exceed it by maximum 2. So for a total of 7 modules. Or if you are registered for year courses, then you may apply to exceed the maximum number of 10 by a maximum number of 2. If she was in a final semester, it would give you the option to complete the relevant form and to then submit for approval. It's not automatic. They look at your average, etc., so as to not overburden yourself. Obviously, when students are in the final year, they are excited and they are eager to complete, but very often they overburden themselves, enrolling for too many modules, putting too much pressure on yourself. And remember, the workload of a 3rd level module is way more than a 1st level module. So to give you the best chance of actually passing, they look at the number of factors, like I said, your average of your modules, how many modules on average you passed per semester, so to give you the best chance of passing. Graduation information. Let's just wait for the page to load. Sometimes technology is not always on par like we would want it to be. So if you have completed and your qualification has been audited, remember, all qualifications that are completed must undergo an audit process. In other words, we check that you complied with the admission requirements of your qualification, whether or not you've passed all the relevant and compulsory modules, etc., etc. If the audit is completed, it goes to our graduation department. They will then mark your qualification as complete and send you graduation information. So if you have not completed, obviously the system in the background, like I say, checks your record and it sees, oh my goodness, this student is not completing, so you won't be able to find graduation details just yet, only in your final year. But let's go back to my admin. Readmission. If you were excluded from the university due to poor academic performance and you now want to apply for readmission, There's two options. If you have applied, you can apply for readmission. And you click on this button. Obviously, the student is a registered student. So if you are currently registered, it means that you don't need to apply for readmission. Let's just click there. And you can click on next. Just read the information. And click on next. Okay, there's a fault because obviously the student is not being excluded. She is a current registered student. So she would not need to apply for readmission. If you are registered and you want to add additional modules, the student is registered for the maximum of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the modules that she's registered for in semester 1. Maximum number of allowed modules per semester of 5. So she's registered for the maximum number of modules. Just to show you what the system does, the system knows that she's registered for the maximum of 5. If you click on registration of additional modules, tells you in red the courier address is compulsory because remember your first issue of study material is always free of charge by courier. Check your details. If you see it's incorrect, go to my address or my biographical details and change it there to ensure that your parcel is actually delivered at the correct address. Click on continue. Your email address, you will be notified via email that your study material is on their way. Okay. If you want to amend your qualification, specialization, continue. And yeah, click on list study units valid for your qualification. This is important. By clicking on this, it will automatically only populate the modules actually valid for your qualification so that you don't accidentally select an incorrect module. And then in the end, when you think you are completing, you've actually missed an compulsory module and not completing. So this is the safer option. List modules valid for your qualification. And you can indicate how many modules you want to add. Let's say 2 modules. Remember, she's already registered for the maximum of 2. Now we want to add 2 more and she's not in the final year. Let's see. And because she is already registered and for the maximum number, it would state no open registrations. All right, because registration for first semester is actually closed. All right. If you were able to, it would then tell you, it would list the modules and you can just click on the modules, select the semester and simply add them. It is a live system. So the moment that you've added the modules and you have paid the minimum fee, the modules will automatically be added to your registration. If you have registered and you see, oh my goodness, I need to cancel some of my modules, you do it live on the website, on MyUnisa and under my admin. Let's just wait for the page to load. And yeah, it says a student who voluntarily cancels their registration will forfeit either part of or the entire fee paid. Okay, so be aware of that. Often students cancel and they can't understand where the money went to. This is the reason why. If you cancel within the 10 days cooling off period, of course you won't forfeit any of your fee paid. So if you want to cancel a module, you can simply click on the module to be cancelled. You cancelled modules. It's not yet cancelled. Proceed with request. If I proceed with request, then it will actually cancel the module, which I don't want to do. So like I said, I don't want to mess around with the registration. And it is live the moment that you click on proceed with request, it will actually cancel the module. All right. Request proof of registration. Very often medical aids, your employer, the bank where you've applied for your loan, for whatever reason, you can request a letter that proves that you are registered, and you simply click on request letter. Your email address will be reflected. Remember, it will only be sent to your MyLife email address. As you can see, you can't change the email address because this is your official channel for correspondence. Okay. And it says the registration letter will be emailed to your MyLife. So she will receive that in a short while. Request semester change. I said the internet is very intermittent, but we're getting there. Because registrations are closed, it says here, exchange no longer possible, use the cancellation function. Because first of all, it's after the closing date and it's after the more than 10 days cooling off period has lapsed. So she won't be able, in this instance, to change her semester. Otherwise, if it was within the registration period, simply click on the module. There would be a button to click on and to change your module to the second semester. Only modules that are registered. You cannot, for instance, decide that you don't want to do this module and semester change to another module because that module is not registered. Okay. In that instance, you would need to make use of the cancellation function instead. Okay, so that is for student, all the functionalities on student admin currently. Study material, parcel tracking. If you now want to know what's happened to your study material, you can see here. It will go via the post office safe mail. There is the tracking number. So if you use the link, you can copy and paste the tracking number and it will actually tell you where your parcel is at the moment. Or you can phone the toll-free number. Give them this tracking number and they would be able to tell you where your parcel is at the moment. Student finance, you can get a study fees quotation. She resides in South Africa. Qualification level. See, all this information is already populated because in the background, the system draws the information from our database. So you can key in your modules. See there, let me just show you without the qualification code, it's grayed out. So you have to actually populate the qualification code, becomes live, and you can display. And it gives you the fees. It tells you the module, the description, and the fee for that module. So quite easy. You want to do credit card payments. Let's say you have study fees outstanding and you want to make a payment. It is a live transaction. So the moment that you key in your credit card details, it will automatically deduct the money from your credit card immediately. Student number, the qualification code, continue. And yeah, it's in red. Please don't click the pay button twice because it is a live system. It will actually deduct whatever amount from your account twice. It can be refunded, but it's a process. It's not an immediate process. All right. So there's actually a credit amount on this account. So she doesn't owe the university. The university actually owes her. All right. So this is your access card to the university, or if you need to apply for matriculation exemption, you click on that. There's a library fine. If you want to pay, let's say, money into your study account. But because she is not owing, she's actually in credit. See how the system protects you. That area is grayed out, so you cannot accidentally make a mistake. Okay. Then under assessment admin, assignment submission, exam results, examination timetable, examination year, exam period. Let's display. You will see what happens now. In the background, it's checking that she is actually writing exams in February, and of course, there is no exams scheduled for. It will tell you. If we change that to May, June, because she's registered in semester 1, we click on display, and there. Of course, it's online exams, the dates will still be informed, but you find the module and the date, etc. So very, very, very easy. Okay. If password management, if you need to change your password, you change your password there. All right. So I'm going to log out of here. And I just want to take it to the Unisa online. Again, apply applications are closed. Just want to show you what happens. If you want to apply, only certain qualifications are available. As you can see, there is no actual apply button because applications are closed. So that's just to show you that the system actually, and it also displays the message. Applications for admission for the 2023 academic year to undergraduate qualifications are closed. So you cannot apply. you can only do so within the application period. Register. Undergraduate. Want your qualification. Register now. It will ask you either student number and your email address. I'm highlighting so that you can take note. It's a free email for your My Life. And they make it easy by this is a live link. So if you click on that, you can actually claim your Unisa login. If it's undergraduate, you click on go. If you've registered at Unisa previously, if you've been registered, you click on yes. If this is your first registration, you click on no. You know your student number? Yes. And then it will ask you for your student number. We just date of birth is automatically populated because by means of the student number, all your biographical details are already captured on our database. She's registered, the system picks it up and says you are already registered for the academic year. To add modules, go to MyUnisa. All right. I hope this clarifies some of the uncertainties for you. If there are any questions, please put it in the chat box and I will try and answer for you and clarify. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lizette, for that demonstration of what MyUnisa is all about and some of the administrative functions that are available so that students do not have to take a taxi to come to Unisa to be able to get assistance that many of those that we have shared, students are able to do. I see in the chat, some of the students are asking about whether they can already have access to these functions. And I think you have indicated at the beginning that if you are a registered student, whatever you were showing or demonstrating, students are able to already do that and make changes as you have been showing. The second aspect I want to reflect on.
They must be registered. They must be registered and have claimed their My Life Unisa address. Then they will have access. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes. So in the chat, just to help them, Lizette, we are going to post a short video. I think it's a minute, 30-second video that demonstrates exactly how they can do it should they need to refer or if they get stuck while trying to do it on their side, should they not have already done so. But everything that Lizelle was showing, you are able to do on your end. I want to also reflect on the digital access centers. We will talk a little bit more about it tomorrow when we are focusing on academic support, including the digital access that students may have access to in their different corners. But they are called digital access centers, which the university has set up. There's a list on MyUnisa, as Lizelle has shown, that you can be able to see which of those centers are near you, so that you can be able to go there and use those services for free in case you do not have your own device that has got internet connection. Can I just caution here, ladies and gentlemen, that please do not post your personal details in the chat. It is for your own safety, because those details might be used for other purposes than the specific purpose that you are posting them for. And that if you are experiencing connectivity challenges on your side, we are recording this session and you'll be able to view it later on, as we are going to send it through to you as well. In the next 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear what the University of South Africa is providing support on as far as students with disabilities is concerned. The most important and the biggest challenge that we are having is students not disclosing. Of course, it is their right, but you'll hear more about that, because if you do not disclose, it means you're missing out. But let's give Nkuna an opportunity to tell us more about what you would be missing out on in terms of support if you are a student with disabilities. Over to you, Nkuna.
Thank you so much, Chair, and good morning, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, my name is Pinchas Nkuna from the Advocacy and Resource Center for Students with Disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the Advocacy and Resource Center for Students with Disability was established to provide for the wide range of needs of students with disabilities. TaxSuite provides quite a number of services, including assisting students with disabilities to complete application and registration online, advise students to complete special assistant form. And one may ask, what is this special assistant form? This is a form whereby you indicate the kind of study material that you need as per your individual needs. Just to give an example, you find that there are two blind students, only to find that these two blind students, they require different set of study material. One may require braille and the other one may require audio material. It is therefore important that you complete this particular form. We also convert study material into different formats as per your individual needs, including having accessible electronic material, braille, large print, and audio. As you can see, we have Memabaso on the screen, who is our sign language interpreter. Then the service is available as and when required by our deaf and hard of hearing students. We continue to provide inputs to the MyUnisa and MyLife task team to ensure that needs for students with disabilities are taken into account. We also established and launched multipurpose computer labs in different regions to ensure that students with disabilities are able to have access to the different access technology which accommodate their diverse needs. In the spirit of nothing about us without us, we established regional forums and association for students with disabilities to ensure that students with disabilities are able to advise the university on matters that affect themselves. We also provide training on orientation and mobility to our blind and partially sighted students. Ladies and gentlemen, this orientation and mobility, maybe just to give an example, in cases whereby you come across a person who's using a white cane while walking around, then in order for this student to use this white cane, they are receiving a training from the university. While orientation refers to awareness of the environment, mobility refers to the techniques used to travel from one place to another. We also request concessions with regard to extensions of assignments. In cases whereby students, they need extension because of their disability or medical needs. We also assist students to apply for special examination arrangements within the university. One may ask, what is this special examination arrangements? From time to time, we find that students with disabilities, they require extended time to write their exams. You can apply for this by completing the form that is available from the university. The form should be completed by signed by a doctor, giving detailed explanation on how can we reasonably accommodate you. By requesting you to take this form to your doctor, we are not taking you back to medical modeling. We want to make sure that we provide reasonable accommodation that will ensure access for success. We also advocate for alternative assessments in cases whereby you are unable to write exams on the prescribed assessments. Just to give an example, you can do oral exams on Teams as per your disability. We also advise our exam sections to consider students with disabilities when they allocate resources. And in collaboration with our sister department, which is student funding, we assist students to apply for financial assistance, which covers their prescribed books, tuition fees, laptops, medical assessment, and human support. Then the assistive devices depends on their individual needs. It could be a laptop with a screen reader for students who are blind or students with learning disabilities. The screen readers, just to mention amongst others, it could be JAWS or NVDA, and also students with low vision can also apply for laptop with text magnification software, which is known as Zoom Text, motorized wheelchairs for our students who are with paraplegia, manual wheelchairs for our students with paraplegia and amputees, digital recorders, hearing aids, payment for sign language interpretation services, and human support. One will ask, what is this human support? From time to time, students with disabilities, they need support from either their family or from an external stakeholder. Then when these people provide the support, they can be compensated from the library, from this funding. I must emphasize that students with disabilities, even if you receive the assistive device, you still receive the allowance because of your unique needs. We also liaise with publishers both locally and internationally to ensure that students with disabilities who have print disabilities receive electronic textbooks. In order for you to receive the service, there's a one-page form that you complete at the point of registration or at the nearest Unisa center, where you confirm that you'll only use this material for your studies. You won't open your own personal shop and sell the books to fellow students. In the past, we had students who received these electronic copies of prescribed books and decided to make copies and sell them. That is copyright violation. Please refrain from doing that. We also have advocacy campaigns to continue raising up awareness about the needs of students with disabilities throughout the institution, training and development to our staff members to keep abreast with disability-related matters. We also provide support to the graduation office in collaboration with graduation departments and regions to ensure that parking spaces, accessible graduation venues, and the conversion of programs in alternative formats are available, and also determine a need for an accompanying person and a sign language interpreter. Ladies and gentlemen, just imagine it's your graduation day, only to find that you are deaf, and on that session, there's no sign language interpreter, which means you'll be losing out. Or you are blind, only to find that the program is only available in cited format. Therefore, it is important for you to inform the university of your needs so that we can always accommodate you, as we don't apply the one-size-fits-all approach. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you all to join hands against the prejudice that constitute the biggest barrier against students with disabilities. As our chair mentioned earlier, we have a challenge with disclosure. We encourage students not to conceal their disabilities, because while we respect your right to disclose or not to disclose your disability, you may not demand or or request or receive reasonable accommodation from the university if the university is not aware of your disability and your needs. Disabilities are not always visible. We have two forms of persons with disabilities. There are those who are born with a disability, acquired the disability. And I must say, students, disability can be acquired by anyone, anytime. And those of you who will acquire disabilities during their studies, please disclose so that the university can provide reasonable accommodation to you. The information provided will be kept confidential. I'd like to emphasize that the Advocacy and Resource Center for Students with Disabilities, amongst its staff members, there are those who are born with disabilities and those who acquire disabilities. These particular staff members, they have a first-hand experience of disabilities. Like, just to give an example, in my case, I'm a wheelchair user. I'm T10 and T12 paraplegia. Then I have that first-hand experience of disability. When you disclose, we'll understand exactly on how to accommodate you. We are also aware of students who are reluctant to disclose their disability due to the fear of stigma and victimization. But I must say, ladies and gentlemen, that disclosing a disability won't attract any stigmatization or victimization. You'll only receive reasonable accommodation from the university in order for you to study without any challenge. In terms of the terminology, from time to time, we hear our students in corridors saying, disabled students, your fellow student is not disabled, is a student with a disability. Just to give an example, if you say your alarm is disabled, the alarm system does not serve any purpose. And if you say this, your fellow student is disabled, you are saying that this, your fellow student does not serve any purpose, of which is incorrect. Let's always see the person before the disability. And again, please let us refrain from calling our fellow students as the wheelchair user or the wheelchair bound or the blind. Let's use the names that they were given by their parents. If your fellow student with a disability, the name is Joe or the name is Pintias, please address the student as Pintias or as Joe. And again, let's refrain from saying certain students are normal, because immediately you say then we have a group for normal students, we are implying the opposite to students with disabilities. Remember, all students are normal, irrespective of your disability. And in terms of the etiquette, I'd like to share this with you, students. In cases where you come across your fellow student who's on a wheelchair, please do not push them without asking for a permission, whether they need assistance or not. Because from time to time, when a person is sitting on a wheelchair, when they push themselves, they sit in a particular position. When they're being pushed by another person, they readjust to a different position. Because by so doing, when you push them without requesting for a permission, you may end up, they may end up falling, of which that was not your intention, but yours was to assist. Please communicate. And again, if maybe in the library or in your study rooms, you come across your fellow blind student, please do not grab the arm and thinking that the student is going to the same direction that you are going to. Find out from the person whether they need assistance or they are waiting for somebody else. Communication is key. And for students who are using guide dogs, please do not pet guide dogs. Again, for students who are deaf, don't shout when communicating to them. Just simply look direct to them and talk gently. And then here are the contact details of the Advocacy and Resource Center for Students with Disabilities. If you need assistance, we are here for you. please do not hesitate to contact us. In conclusion, I'd like to leave you students with a quote by Thomas Edison. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. I thank you.
Thank you, Tetenkuna, for doing so much justice to this item that is showing students that for any type of disability that they have, or the majority of them at least, you will be able to provide support in terms of how you have indicated. And of course, disabilities can also be acquired, even if you are not born with them. So thank you very much. This, ladies and gentlemen, are the efforts on the side of the university to try and provide reasonable accommodation to all of you. Thank you very much for that. In the next item, we are going to play a video on the item on recognition of prior learning. I don't know how many of you have heard about it and what it's all about, but it's yet another support service that is there that looks into the experience that you have where you might be working and taking advantage of what you have learned in that space. And my colleagues will play the video in a moment, and we will have Dr. Haji, who is heading that unit on the chat to respond to the questions that you may have. Thank you. Apologies for that. It seems there was a challenge with the sound, so they are trying again. Thank you.
Specialist in the Directorate of Instructional Support and Services. I'm going to take you through what we offer as the recognition of prior learning. And firstly, I would like to congratulate you for your admission into the university and your successful registration now that you have chosen your own qualification. I would love to take you through our offerings as RPL office. What is recognition of prior learning? We are the unit which recognizes relevant skills, competencies, knowledge, and learning that have taken place outside the formal education and training system. Meaning that if you have got some work experience, but you would love to be admitted into a particular qualification at Unisa, and you don't meet those minimum requirements stipulated in that qualification, you can contact our office so that we can assess your experience and see if it can enhance you to be qualified or to enter into the qualification. That is the first part of RPL. But secondly, we have got the RPL, which deals with the credit. In this instance, if you have got work experience and you think that after you have been admitted here at Unisa, when you check at your program or your degree or diploma, you realize that in one of the modules or in two of the modules, some of those things you have already done them at work, either being supervised or you were actually the supervisor. And you feel that you don't need to repeat those things in that module as much as you didn't have the theoretical background, but you have got a relevant working experience around those modules. You can approach our office, and after identifying that module, our office will assist you in developing a portfolio which can be sent to the assessment panel, and you will be granted that module. It means you will be exempted from doing that module because of the work experience you would have demonstrated through the portfolio that you are and you know what the module entails. Very important with regard to RPL for module credit is the fact that we will not give you more than 50% of the modules. For example, if the program or the qualification has got 30 modules, it means we will not give you more than 15 of the modules that are in that specific qualification through RPL. It's therefore important to note that if we exceed that 50%, the university rule is that you might not be able to acquire the qualification under the university name. The other RPLs for access into qualification and RPL for career development are not important at this point in time because you have already accessed the qualification or admitted into the qualification. Therefore, those other RPLs are not important, and we are going to deal with the RPL for module credit. RPL is not credit exemption. I think most of you might be aware of the fact that if you've studied in other universities and you would like to be credited those modules, there is a form which is called DSAR04, which you must complete and send it via email to the relevant email address in that form so that you are able to be exempted from various modules. I gave the examples of the academic records from University of Pretoria, Valley University of Technology, and Tshwane University of Technology. As a distance learning university, we are aware of the fact that our students, some of them, start with the residential universities, but later would like to join our university, and therefore we don't want them to lose out on the modules which they might have acquired from their previous universities. RPL for credit module, as I said, that on step number 5, it means as soon as you are registered as you are now, you must identify the module which you think you have got enough experience and you can write portfolio about, and you follow all the steps until you receive a feedback on the assessment of your portfolio, which means that you must contact the RPL coordinator in the particular college, of which I will share the information with you later. Other steps are self-explanatory. Please go through them and make sure that when and if you have got experience and you want it to be assessed against the module, you use those steps. In our university, we have identified some modules with high RPL applications. For example, in the College of Law, we have got Law of Persons. In College of Education, we have got teaching practice for either PGCE, senior phase, and also in College of Economic and Management Sciences, we have got a module by the name of Business Management, NMB 1601, of which students who have applied for RPL via, for the module RPL have successfully completed and were able to do the portfolio and pass. So these are some of the examples. I'm just bringing them to your attention so that if you are in various qualifications, please zoom into them and see if you are already working so that you can develop that portfolio and be credited those modules. But depending on your sector, you might identify other modules which I didn't list here, which you feel that you have got experience of. RPL process is not for free, and the handling fee for RPL for module is around 330 for undergraduate qualifications, and you will know that there is also, if there is a need for further assessment, you will be charged another 330. But in all, you will be paying around 330 for a module in order to apply for RPL. Our contact information are as follows. Depending on the college, you have got various contact persons, and you can see for masters and doctoral studies, of which I think this orientation is not focused for them. They can contact myself and Ms. Nkwashi. But for the rest of undergraduate qualifications and honors, please contact the colleagues in various colleges as listed in the information. Thank you so much, and all the best with your studies. And we hope to see you around completing your qualifications with ease. And we can rest assure you that you are joining thousands and thousands of students who have graduated at Unisa using this form of distance learning. And we hope the information we have shared with you shed some light in terms of RPL, and we hope and believe that if you take advantage of RPL, especially for those who are already working and have gathered relevant experience, it can be of assistance to enable you to be credited some modules. Thank you so much. All the best with the rest of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for paying attention to the video, and the important message there, of course, is that you should take advantage of RPL and be able to even increase your chances of completing your qualification a lot faster, because you will not need to do all of those modules in your qualification if you meet the criteria. So Dr. Haji is available in the chat. If you want more information, he will be able to assist you further. The next item on the program is about issues relating to student accounts. You are likely to be getting communication in this regard. You may yourself have already had a need to get some information about this particular subject. And so we thought it was important that we have Ramhlale Ramaaga to come and share with you some of the common issues that students face when it comes to the matter of finances. And as she, as the presentation is about to be flighted, can I just remind colleagues that please refrain from posting your information in the chat to limit the danger that may pose to you. All right, I'm handing over to the item on student accounts. If you can unmute, share your camera, show your presentation, and take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chiri. This is Rama Ramatali, representing student account. I'm going to share the screen right now. And please let me know if you can view it so that we can continue the presentation. Okay. Here we go.
We can see it, sir. You can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, now I'm going to represent student account and inform students how we operate in student account and how accounts are administered and how they can communicate with us if need so. Right. Let's do this. Okay, now we're going to look at the content. Our content is Copy Act, very important. And we'll talk about quotation and pro forma invoice payment methods, different references that need to be used when you make the payment, the banking details to pay your fees into, the cooling off period in relation with cancellation, the refund processes, and the financial suspension, reinstatement of the suspended module, AODs, SF flags, and bad debt. Okay, next to the next slide. Copy Act. Copy Act is it's protection of personal information, where as the university, we find it very important to make sure that our student, our stakeholders' information does not get into the wrong hands and be used for the wrong purposes. So as students, please be advised that giving your details to the third party might actually create a bad impression on your name. Due to that, your information might be used for the wrong purposes. So as the university, if one or the third party comes into our department student account and requests for your details or for your statement, we will not grant that unless you as a student provided that authority that we can issue the statement to the parents or the spouse or the child, whoever you might have sent to the university. But it's always important to make sure that you keep your personal information personal at this stage. So our next slide, we'll be talking about quotation and pro forma invoices. So you can request for your quotation and pro forma invoice. In most cases, you find that companies do fund our students and they request for invoices. So we issue invoices, and the faculties or the college, they provide quotations. So as a student, if you require an invoice and we issue pro forma invoice, not text invoice, the reason being our modules or Unisa qualification are VAT exempt. So that's why we use pro forma invoice, not text invoice. So there are information that will be requested by the university or by our department in order for us to issue that invoice to you. So we will request those information on a company letterhead signed and stamped so that it looks legit, or so that it will be legit. So that you make sure that it is from the company, not just from any other person. And very importantly, you must request that using your MyLife email address. It's very important, because this MyLife email address is the only source of communication that university uses for security purposes. So if, as a student, and you need an invoice for your current semester temporary registration modules, you must provide a company letterhead with a company name, VAT number, address, your module, your student name, student number, qualification code, and qualification name. Then we can issue that to you so that your company can fund your studies. Moving on to payment methods and references. We have different kinds of payment methods. You can pay your fees online using your credit card details. You can pay via bank deposit, go inside the bank and deposit into the provided banking details. We'll share the banking details shortly. You can also deposit your fees using the ATM, FNB ATM. We're using FNB Bank. So you can use the ATM to deposit your cash. So basically, what you do, you go to the ATM and select cardless, and then you usually type UNI, and Unisa details will populate, and then you follow the prompts. Okay, so there will be a portion where you need to enter your reference, depending on what you paying fees for. It could either be application study fees, matriculation, or library fees. Now let's focus on study fees, because this is basically what we specialize in data account. So your reference will be your student number, then you leave a space, and then you put 540037471, and your fees will come straight into your account. Right. You also can visit our branch, Sunnyside campus, where you can swipe your card using a spin point, and your fees will reflect immediately. Right. You can also use EFT, where Unisa is pre-approved on FNB. So you can also pay your fees there and follow the prompts. Very important, the reference must always be correct. Make sure your student number is there. Do not use your name and surname or type Unisa. Then we will not be able to access your fee or the money that you paid. You will have to contact the university to inform us that you've made the payment, however, it's not reflected. It will be because the reference was incorrectly typed when you make the payment. And moving on to the next slide. Okay. Now, talking of payments, this is just a demonstration of account statement. I've covered the student details for security purpose, POPI Act. If you look at the bottom of this account statement, there are dates displayed to indicate when we expect the payment after your registration. So we've got the 31st of May, we've got the 31st of March, we've got 15th of August. Okay, so we expect the fees by those dates. Moving on to the next slide. This is our banking details, where I've mentioned that we're using FNB and it is a pre-approved beneficiary. So you can just go into FNB and type Unisa student deposit, you search for it, and it will populate the information. And then make sure that your reference is correctly entered. For those who use different banks, these are the banking details that you can use to make your fee deposit. So you can register that on your EFT or on your bank, and then use this banking details. Note that these banking details, they are also on Unisa website. So if you need to confirm the banking details or you need the banking details, you can go to www.unisa.ac.za and click on admissions, then click on payment method and banking details. Then you'll find all the finance details, the banking details that you need there. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. These are the banking details. Going back to the pro forma invoice slide, where if the company wishes to pay for your studies, these are the banking details that they will use to make payment into Unisa account. And also for the international students, they will use this displayed banking detail. So when you provide the pro forma invoice to the student, the banking details will be stated at the bottom of the document, and the company will use that to make the payment. Moving on to the next slide. This is the forfeiting of payment and the cancellation and cooling off period. Lizelle mentioned the 10-day cooling period. Yes, if your registration is activated on the 1st of February and you cancel before 10 days cooling off period, you will not forfeit your minimum. You will get your money back. If your cancellation is done after 10 days of cooling period from the date of registration, you will forfeit your minimum. And if you request your cancellation after the 31st of March, then you will forfeit everything for semester 1. And you will be liable for your fees, even though you have canceled your registration. So it's always advisable to cancel your registration before 10 calendar days. Moving on to semester 2, the same applies. If you register on the 1st of July and then you cancel within 10 calendar days, then you will get your money back. However, if you cancel after those 10 days and before the 31st of August, you forfeit your minimum. And if you cancel after the 31st of August, then you forfeit all your fees and you will be liable to pay your fees. Moving on to year modules, there's 3 payments that are required when you register for a year module. So if you register at the beginning of the year and you cancel after 10 days and before the 15th of May, then you will forfeit your minimum. Then if you cancel after the 15th of May, but before the 31st of August, then you will forfeit your minimum and your first payment. And if you cancel after the 31st of August, then you will forfeit the whole amount, and you will be liable to settle the fees, even though you've made the cancellation. Moving on to the next slide, it's a refund. So refund usually comes basically after the cancellation. So some students, they will register and then cancel immediately, and then the student account will reflect a credit, and they can request for their money back. However, there's procedures that used to be followed before a refund can be processed. So there are also documents that we require before you can accept your refund request. We can only refund fee from 100 Rand going up. If your account is in credit of 99 Rand, then we cannot accept your request. We will decline that refund request. So the documents that are requested when you need the university to refund you, there's a form that you need to complete. We will request for your proof of payment. We will need your official banking details with an official bank stamp, and we'll also need your ID copy. And so if the fees were paid by the company, then we'll request an authorization from the company if we can refund this money into your personal account, or we should refund it back to the payer. Then if in that case, if the company authorized the Unisa that you cannot bank, then they need to send out a consent letter that authorizes the university to refund the money that they paid into the student banking account. Okay, I can see that you see that there are links on the slide. So there's no need to write this down or copy them. If you go to MyUnisa, admission method, payment method, and banking details, the same link, you'll find all the details that you need regarding refunds and finance and banking details, payment method. You'll find them all there on the website. So there's no need to write this down. Moving on to the next slide. During the course of the year, we expect payments on specific days by our registered students. So we have what you call account flags. So account flags, we basically block the account if the student did not pay their fees as per the statement. We have different types of flags. We have debtors flag, we have finance flag, we have handover flag. We also have library flag. However, we deal with the first three. However, all these flags, they will prevent you as a student from acquiring your results, academic record. However, you can still get your timetable. You can still go and write your exams. It do not prevent you from writing your exams because of the flag. Now, the first flag, basically, we only block the academic information for the amount due on the specific date. As I've mentioned on the statement, where on the 31st of March, we request our final payment for the first semester registration. And if the 31st lapses and the university did not receive any money, from the student, then the study fee debt flag will generate on the student account, and you will not have access to your academic record. However, you can still have access to your study materials and you can still write your exams. So we have the other flags, which is financial flags and handover flags. So these ones, basically, they happen if the account is overdue. If you registered in 2021 and you never paid your fees for the next year or two, then the following flags will reflect on your account and we will hand over your account to the debt collectors. And the next slide has the name of the debt collectors that are registered with us that we hand over the student to for collection. Okay. These are the debt collectors that we use as the university to hand over the student whose account are overdue. Note that we only hand over account from the balance of 300 going up. Any account less than 300, 299 going down, we do not hand over. However, we will block the account and the student will not register. The student will not have access to academic record results, and the student will not even graduate until the account settled. So these are the collection agencies that we use: Malamasondo, Nukumaimela, and Han. If as a student you receive a message or a call from any other person pretending to be a debt collector and is not one of the three, please do not agree to pay those fees. Rather, contact the university for verification. Even though you receive an SMS that says your account is overdue and it's from Kumala Masondo, contact number 012355 6642. It is advisable to verify with the university that really it's my account with this debt collector. This is the SMS that I've received, and I'm not sure if this is legit or not. Then we can verify that for you, because we know there's a lot of scams going out there. So it's always better to be on the safe side and regret later. Right. Moving on to the next slide. It's financial suspension. So financial suspension is basically generated depending on the semester that you registered on, and it has dates which the system generates that. Now, financial suspension usually is done when the student fails to pay on time. Meaning, if you were supposed to pay on the 31st of March and you fail to settle your final fee for the first semester, or the 31st of August for the second semester, then the system will automatically generate financial suspension. However, we will inform you in advance before this action takes place. I will let you know that, look, due to fees not received on time, or fees that are not received by the 31st of March or 31st of August, there will be changes on your account, which you will see a financial suspension on your account. Then your account will basically go to zero, or -10 or -20, depending on how much you currently have in your account and how much you owe. However, that does not prevent you from writing your exams. or it does not prevent you from receiving your timetable and so on. So it will only prevent you from getting any academic document like academic record. So in this case of financial suspension, so what we do, we have three options where you can reinstate the modules by paying your outstanding fee, and we'll run the program that will basically search all the accounts that were financial suspension. However, there's a credit amount that were supposed to be paid by a certain date, however, it's paid now. Then your modules will automatically reinstate it and show the original cost or the original balance on the account. Or you can visit the university and request that in person that please will you be kind to reinstate the following modules on my account that were financially suspended. Or you can also send an email and inform that you have paid and you need your modules to be reinstated. Please note that all this communication will be sent to my live email address. Okay, this is the account statement, just to indicate how the financial suspension is run. The student has registered 3 modules for the first semester. However, we did not receive the money by the due date, and immediately the program of financial suspension will run for the total amount that is still due, which the account will be credited, and your account will show a balance of 0. However, this is not the original outstanding amount. However, as soon as the student pays the outstanding amount, the reinstatement will take place. Moving on to next slide, acknowledgement of debt. So acknowledgement of debt applies to those students who wish to register. However, they do not have initial fee to activate the registration. Kindly note that AOD also has rules and regulations, and there are also documents that are required in order to accept the acknowledgement of debt. For instance, if you register 5 modules and they are TP and you are unable to pay the minimum, you can apply for acknowledgement of debt. There's a form that you need to complete. So basically what is important is that we request a complete form. We need a payslip or a 3-month bank statement that proves that you earn money every month, to be sure that you will be able to settle the debt that you've acknowledged. You also need your ID copy. In the case of where you are unable to, or you are not working, but there's a third party or a guardian, a parent, a spouse, who is willing to pay on your behalf, it is also accepted if all the relevant documents are provided. So the document that I've mentioned, your spouse, your guardian, or your parents should also provide that. Bank statement, payslip, ID copy, a consent letter. But as university, we can verify that you're really working and this payslip is legit, and you'll be able to get the debt acknowledged. Those students who previously registered under AOD and failed to settle their fees, and they request for another acknowledgement acceptance, unfortunately, it will be rejected unless you settle the previous acknowledgement, or unless you settle your previous debt. Those students who are not working and they apply for AOD, your request will not be accepted because the rules and regulations say that you should be working, or you should have a source of income that proves that if we grant you this opportunity of registering without paying, you'll be able to acknowledge your debt as per the form completed. Foreign students are also accepted if they can provide the following documents. AOD is only for South African students. However, we have an exception for the foreign students who have a valid permit to reside in South Africa. They must provide that. They must provide the proof of that address, the proof of income, and the passport or their ID. First-time students who apply for AOD, they must first apply with NSFAS to see if they can fund them before we can accept them for AOD. Which proves that their NSFAS application was not accepted or was declined. With a reference, with a confirmation, they must also send out the confirmation to make sure that the student is, the information provided is legit. And with, I believe that's all about data. I tried to summarize as much as possible, and I hope that student managed to grab one or two things regarding the presentation about student data. However, you can still contact us. You can still send your consent, your inquiries to finan@unisa.ac.za. If it has to do with payments that do not reflect due to wrong reference or payment by the company, you can still send your request to finan@unisa.ac.za, or susdebt ID@unisa.ac.za, so that it can manually trace the fee and allocate it into the relevant student account. I think that's all about student account. I don't know if there's any questions that need to be asked. If so, you can drop them in the chat, or I can take one or two questions if there's any.
Thank you very much Thank you very much for the presentation, Dr. Mhlale. I think it has landed well. Many of the students may not yet realize that what you have presented is going to touch them in one way or the other along the way. What I picked up is that how important it is, because we have covered issues like making use of the correct references when they are making payments, cancellation dates, refunds, links that you had on your presentation that you are going to post in the chat, just so that they can be able to find more information on their own. And of course, how to interpret their statements, the account statements for that matter. And so I think it's also an indication of why we have this 2-day session, because we are in day one just focusing on administrative issues that students are facing or are likely to face, and leaving the academic issues to be dealt with on their own in the next day, which is tomorrow, same place, same time, different link to join, which we have already shared. So we are running a bit behind schedule, but I promise that we are going to finish the program. There are 3 more presentations to be made. The next one is on student funding, and that the Mashinini is going to take us through some of the processes associated with student funding, issues that you need to be aware of. And I'm sure you are eagerly waiting to hear more about that. So I will hand over to him to take us through. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Program Director, and good afternoon to our colleagues, as well as to our students as well. Yeah, my name is Sibusiso Mashinini. I am not alone. I am with my colleagues who are going to assist with responding to the charts. Yeah, as I'm showing on the slide, I'm not going to mention their names, but take note that different individuals would be responding to those charts. Do not be shocked. Yeah, I'm here to talk about the student funding schemes that we offer from the Directorate of Student Funding. So these are the types of bursary schemes that we offer. And as I go on my slides, I am going to go in detail into them. But this is a list of those bursary schemes that we are offering. And then the first one, NSFAS DHET bursary scheme. Yeah, you will understand that currently the NSFAS applications are closed. So I'm going to focus more on the post applications, activities, and so on. The first one, it would be on the application outcomes. What we do, we advise students to use a MyUnisa bursary portal to check their status and so on. And then on the portal, students will understand that there are sort of 8 stages on the evaluation of the application. And as UNISA, we don't have control or access to those stages or the portal, or how quick they move and so on. So we advise students to be patient in that. And another thing is that student must upload the required documents also on the portal. And then what do we do with NSFAS? We receive a confirmation list of the funded students. It's then we are finalizing registration and so on. We do not use the MyNSFAS portal and so on to activate, but NSFAS would send us a list of those confirmed and funded students. The next activity, it would be on the appeal. The appeal are now open, and students who are affected, be it the new and the returning students, they may appeal directly on MyNSFAS portal. And then students who are in their final year, left with less than 10 modules in the current year, they will receive the propensity letters via my life email address. And then students who are completing the higher certificate and were rejected based on the N+ rule. We have advised them again that they need to appeal actually for the rejection, and then what they can use as a submission in appealing, it's the higher certificate completion letter. And also students who have appealed, we advise them that they do their own payment in finalizing the registration and so on while awaiting the appeal. The appeal might take longer, and looking at the registration, it will close very soon. The next activity is now the returning students for 2023 funding. On my NSFAS portal, you'll understand that some of the returning applicants or students, the information is not yet migrated to 2023. It still reflects the 2022 profile and so on. So we advise those students to create a new profile. And then the qualifications that are not funded by NSFAS, those are advanced certificates, advanced diplomas, the NDPs, postgraduate diplomas, honors degrees, and master's and PhD qualifications. And also students who are now registering for the second qualification. NSFAS also doesn't fund that, it only funds the first qualification. And also as well as those who are not funded on the first qualification who intend to do this second qualification, NSFAS also doesn't fund that qualification. And then there are students that would move between the universities and so on. How it works actually, before you can be moved into the new institution and so on, the institution must have received the global list, or the portal must have been updated with the current information. So what we do, we advise students to finalize their registration until such time we are able to confirm their funding in that. And previous institutions must ensure that the academic results are also loaded for funding to be migrated. And then we have also another group that it's moving from the TVET colleges to the universities. Those students, in order to be moved to the university, a student must have completed the TVET qualification, and the student must also reapply for NSFAS to fund the university qualification. The NSFAS DHET bursary, what does the NSFAS cover? It covers the tuition fees. It also covers the learning material allowances or laptop. It also covers the incidental allowances. On the learning material allowances, what it covers, if students are registered between 1 to 4 modules, the amount is 700 rands per module. And where a student, they are registered for more than 5 modules in an academic year, then the annual allowance is going to be 5,460. And then on the incidental allowances also, for students who are registered for 10 modules and more, they will receive 304.50 cents per month for 10 months. For a student to receive their allowances or the refund and so on, a link must be sent to MyLife email address, and the link will request students to update their banking details on the MyUnisa platform. So we advise students to actually keep on checking My Life email address. That's the email address that we use to communicate with students. We are not using any other emails except My Life, no Gmail email accounts. We're going to send the student details or the links and so on. The following are not covered by NSFAS: the supplementary exam fees, the remark fee, late cancellation fees. As my previous colleague has alluded, that there are penalties that you will be charged if you cancel late and so on. Students need to also take into account that those penalties, NSFAS doesn't cover them in that. And also the textbook charges is not covered by NSFAS, the library card as well. We have another funding scheme now, NSFAS DHET Disability Bursary. I know one of the later speakers, my colleague, has also, Mr. Nkuna, has touched also on the disability. What we do, what the bursary does, it supports students with disabilities who require financial assistance. Applicants must ensure that they have declared their disability when applying. And there is an Annex A form that needs to be completed by the student, and it must also be uploaded on application. Applicants who are successful, who have received funding and so on, they can also use our ACSuite unit within Unisa. That's where Mr. Nkuna is positioned actually. If they need to buy assistive devices and so on, we have a unit that is also responsible to assist our students in getting their devices and so on. Yeah, continuing on the disability bursary, what does the bursary cover? It covers the tuition fees, which is payable to the institution. There is also a learning material allowances, 700 rands per module. And there is a living allowance, which is 304 rands, 50 cents per month for 10 months. There is also cost of assistive device. There's also human support where applicable. And the next funding scheme is Funza Lushaka Bursary. The program is aiming into promoting students who are in the teaching profession and so on. So also it is noted that the applications are now closed. Students are waiting the outcomes from the bursary. So, but what the student who can apply for the bursary, those are our learners who have just completed their grade 12, who wish to pursue studies on the B.Ed qualification. And also for students who are already on the system, who have graduated, who are below 30 years old, who want to study teaching qualification or enroll for PGCE. And then there are those students who are also below the age of 30 who wants to do a career change and become teachers also. They are also welcome to apply. Continuing on the Funza Lushaka, the evaluation and the finalization of outcome or applications, the outcome would be communicated around April and May 2023. Students are advised that to make own payments to finalize registration while awaiting the outcome and so on. And then what does the bursary cover? It covers tuition fees, accommodation and meals, books and learning materials. And there is also an allowance for monthly living expenses. There is also a bursary, DMV bursary, Department of Military Veterans. Students, they may use the dmv.gov.za website for application. Application are handled at DMV. And then who can apply for the bursary? Those are military veterans and their dependents who wish to apply for education support benefit. What does the bursary cover? Tuition fees, laptop, learning material allowance, and living allowance. What documents are required when applying? Those are ID documents, birth certificate of dependents or ID documents of dependents, and also the academic reports, a copy or a provisional admission letter from the university. We have another bursary, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC bursary. Who qualifies for the bursary? It's a person that's declared a victim of apartheid by the Truth and Reconciliation and or their dependents or relatives. A dependent includes any person whom the TRC identified victim has or had a legal or customary duty to support, which includes children, grandchildren, and the spouse of the identified victim. Also, applications are handled at the website, the justice.gov.za website. The presentation, it is going to be shared with the students, so you will have this information. There is no need to take notes and so on. I know it might be a lot of information to capture. So what are the requirements to get the TRC bursary? The applicant must be a member of a household which earns less than 339,337 rands gross income per year. The applicant must be a member of a vulnerable house. The applicant who needs assistance must be enrolled in a public university or TVET college for undergraduate studies only. Applications must be emailed to the following email address, caps TRC and small letters education@justice.gov.za. What the bursary covers, it covers tuition fees, textbook allowance, meal allowance, transport allowance. The registration process that would relate mostly with the NSFAS students and the bursaries that I have also explained now. How it works is that the NSFAS will send a list of approved students to the university, which they are new and returning students. And then upon receiving the list, what the Student Funding Directorate does, it then activates registration of those students who are included on the list. And we are continuously receiving the list up until registration closes. We have not as yet received 100% of the students that applied from NSFAS and so on. So students will just have to be patient and so on. There are sort of communication between the institutions and NSFAS, and we are also taking into account that the registration, it is closing, which the payment date is due on the 28th of February. So we are working towards the 28th of February. Students must not be frustrated in that. NSFAS process and verify What we do after we've activated the registration, we take the registration data, we upload it on the NSFAS portal after the closing date of registration. Upon NSFAS receiving the registration data and so on, they do their verification on their site, and they link and update the information on the NBA report. Once that it's done, then we should be ready to be paying out the allowances to students and also the refunds. The email address below, it relates to NSFAS queries, which is dsf-nsfas@unisa.ac.za. Yeah, the other bursaries, these are bursaries that are not administered at NSFAS and so on, but as UNISA, we are responsible to administer them, working together with different partners, different donors and so on. The first one is the DOT, the Department of Transport bursary. What does the bursary cover, or who can apply actually on the bursary? It's South African citizens who are 35 years old and below, and it requires that an applicant must have obtained an average percentage of 50% in their previous year of study. The bursary, it covers the undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications, and the students must have registered for the following qualifications: the honors transport in economics, honors logistics, and BCom transport economics. These are the only qualifications that are funded by this bursary. And then what does the bursary cover? It covers tuition fees and the prescribed textbooks. The bursary does not fund failed or repeating modules. And how do students apply? Students, they need to complete an application form. The application form, it is downloadable from our bursary, the UNISA bursary website. I've also attached the link on my presentation on the slide. Students are free, or otherwise students may visit MyUnisa student funding portal, and there is a number of bursaries there that student. And then the contact person for the DOT bursary, that is Miss Refilwe Makai, and I've also noted her email address for contact. We also have another bursary that we administer with our partners, Hilensberg Trust bursary. Who can apply for the bursary? A South African citizen, undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications. Students must have obtained the average percentage of at least 60% in the prior year academic, and the student must be registered for this qualification. It only funds these study areas: medicine, technology, visual arts, music, and faculty of health. It's mainly for the financially needy and academically deserving students, including the missing middle as well. What does the bursary cover? The bursary covers tuition fees, prescribed textbooks. There's also a transport allowance. Any related study cost and laptop, computer, it also covers, but only for the first-time recipients. The contact person for any applications or inquiries, they must be directed to Mr. Lesabe. The email address is also noted. And then for downloading the application and also for more information on the bursary and so on, there is a link that it is showing on my slide. Students are welcome to use the presentation. Otherwise, it's the same route. It's MyUnisa student funding also, and they will find bursaries. There is also SETA bursaries. SETA has a number of bursaries. I'll go through it on my slide and so on. But who can apply for this bursary? And I need to also mention that with SETAs, students, they apply directly to SETAs in their respective qualifications or maybe field of study. As I go on, I will indicate what we do. We will receive the list from the SETAs and so on, or perhaps during the year and so on, they will just come with an invite and say, we need to invite a group of certain students with qualification and so on. Yeah, but what who can apply for the bursary? UNISA does not administer the application, like I've indicated. It's South African citizens who are between the ages of 18 to 35 years. They are strict on the age. That's the age that they are looking for, but it's for different qualifications, different field. Like the types of SETAs, we have FACET, which it's more related to finance and accounting services sector, education and training. What it funds, it's more on the finance and the accounting qualification. And there is also a link for FACET, which is facet.org.za. And we also have a SETA. It's in the Construction Education and Training Authority. The related qualifications are more on the engineering and education. We also have TETA. TETA, their focus, it's more on Transport Education Training Authority. There's also a link, students who might fall under transport and education and so on. They feel free to visit the website. Continuing with the types of SETAs, we've got SETA, the Safety and Security Sector Education and Training Authority. There is also a link there. There are various qualifications that they are fund. Yeah, the group of those qualifications are a lot actually. So students are free to go through those websites. And there's also ETDP SETA, Education, Training and Development Practices Sector, Education and Training Authority. It's more educational related qualification. We have also Bank SETA, Banking Sector, Education and Training Authority. It's more related with the banking qualifications. There is also a link where student can access the Bank SETA website. There is also Services SETA, Sector Education and Training Authority. Their focus is on skills development. They also have a number of qualifications that they fund. And then the officer that is responsible for the administration of SETAs and so on is Ms. Jake Ndlovu. And the email address is also noted on the slide. We have also another UNISA merit bursary. This is the UNISA bursary. We are not partnering with any donors or external donors and so on, but it is funding that it's made available by the University of South Africa. And who can apply for this bursary? It's a South African citizen. They must be registered for the formal qualification in any field of study at UNISA. Students on their second year of study as well. And the students, at least, they must have an average of 75% and above in their previous year of study. And it is looking for students who are financially needy, the missing middle students. The annual family income, it's 600,000. Students must register for a maximum of 5 modules per semester. what merit bursary contract person for applications and inquiries, that is Mr. Manamela, and the email address, it is also noted on the slide. Finally, we have also the Unisa funding, the Unisa bursary scheme. Also, we are not there's no partnership with external donors, external parties, but it is funds that are made available by Unisa, but the funds are made available for the postgraduate diploma or honors students. Applications are also closed. They closed on the 31st. Currently, what we are busy doing with the applications, we are on the vetting stage. You will understand that the requirement to also be funded, it's that you must have obtained 60% on average on the entire undergraduate qualification and be a South African citizen. So what we are currently done now, we've managed to obtain the averages and so on. So we are in consultation with the colleges so that they can confirm and finalize the vetting. So we are expected that we are going to communicate the outcome to the applicants the first week of March. We should be communicating with our students who have obtained. But currently what we have done, there are those students that they do not meet the bursary guideline, like students who are registered for the SBL qualifications, our postgraduate diploma in project management, as an example. We are not funding such, and then we have already communicated with such students to say that the bursary doesn't fund that group. And there are also those students who are now registering for the second postgraduate diploma or honors degree and so on. We don't fund the second postgraduate qualification. We only fund the first qualification. The bursary as well, what it covers, it only covers tuition fees. There are no allowances, and we don't cover failed repeating modules. And so inquiries on the postgraduate diploma honors bursary, they must be directed to the following email address: cgs-pgb@unisa.ac.za. We have a team that is working on the email, and then they should be responding to any queries and so on. Colleagues, yeah, this is, and students, this is the conclusion of my presentation, and I hope it has reached the students, and then it has clarified as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ntate Mashinini. Thank you very much for that detailed account of the many funding opportunities that our students can benefit from. And of course, I saw in the chat many of your colleagues who have come also responding like the other colleagues also did in the different presentations. And I'm sure students are getting their questions answered. The FAQs will also be posted in the chat for any additional inquiries that students may still need answers for. The next item, as we are closing the event, this is the second last presentation. This is from the student development. From the student development, I see Lizelle is here. Lizette is here. If you can project, Lizette, and take us through what support services you have on your end from the student development space. Thank you very much. Lizette, if I can interrupt you and ask you to please unmute and go forward. Thank you.
sorry, Program Director. I was so excited to meet the new students that I forgot that. I just want to welcome the new students and say that from the Office of the Dean of Students, and we are division in the Office of the Dean of Students. We also here with our sister department, Oxford, and you met Mr. Nkuna and Ms. Mabasu that translate. We are here for you students. And I just want to speak very briefly about our mandate. We also have the honor to have the National SLC on the platform, and they will talk about the incredible work and role that they play. I'm here with my colleague, our student health and wellness practitioner, Ms. Mongope, and she will respond to you on the chat. So who are we? We are a division in the Office of the Dean of Students. We also call ourselves Student Affairs in the portfolio of the Registrar. And as I mentioned, we're one of two directorates. The Office of the Dean of Students are responsible for the co-curriculum activities of the students. This relates to student governance matters, but also to other support programs other than your academic that's available for you to become a full-rounded student by the time you graduate. So what is our role? Our role is to promote co-curriculum activities to students that's registered. We also want to create a nurturing environment. Now, in an institution like Unisa, it's very difficult to connect and to make you feel part of the Unisa family. And our role is to do that. We also are instrumental in facilitating that the student voice through the SLC are heard on all levels of the institution, on council, on senate, in institutional forum, and also in regional centers. But our national SLC will speak more in detail. So how do we do this? In student development, we focus on a number of things. The first one is the support that we need to provide to the national and regional SLC structures. The second part is also that we ensure that there's leadership development program that when the student leadership ends their term of office, they would have received both opportunities and training programs that can enrich them in the time as they move forward with their lives. Another very important part of our work is student health and wellness. And as you participate throughout your studies from this time now, you will see that we will call on you and offer you programs that can support your health and wellness. We know from research, we also know from experience that health and wellness are core ingredient of your success. Because if you don't attend to that and we don't support you to attend to that, it might impact negatively on your studies. And here we speak about physical health as well as mental health. Then my next slide will speak to each of these components. The student health and wellness, as I mentioned, focus on specifically your mental health issues, your physical health issues, and in that space, we offer some programs, we offer outreaches to our students, both physical in regional centers, because we work very, very close with our regional centers, but also online. Then we also participate in some way in your academics and that we can ensure that diversity and well-being is included in your curriculum. And then we also ensure that the co-curriculum programs can enrich you in different ways. We have two departments that make sure that all of this happens, with our colleagues working closely with us. Now, in the health and wellness section in student social development, we do training, we do health and wellness campaigns. We also work with higher health, and we ensure that we also train a core group of students, which we call peer educators, that can service students. Because what we learned here is that from peer-to-peer outreach, there is normally a very positive response, because young people and peers understand each other very well. Our second focus, and we always make opportunity and we always use opportunities very, very strategically to focus on gender-based violence. And dear students, if you or today sitting here and you might be a victim or a perpetrator of gender-based violence, we offer support. We coordinate cases, we do awareness, because one of the materials that we will leave with you is our awareness brochures that we translated in 5 different African languages as well. Because when you enter into this space, we need to ensure that it's a nurturing environment and that you are safe and that you don't fall victim to any form of gender-based violence. In this section of student social development, we also do training programs, and I spoke about student leadership programs, but also some entrepreneurship programs. As I mentioned, we always make opportunity to speak about gender-based violence. And one of the first points that I want to leave you is that you understand that there's different forms of gender-based violence, and that you can contact us, and it's physical, it's sexual, it's emotional, and it's psychological, but it can also be economical. And we do work with students that are targeted on all these forms of GBV. This includes intimate partner violence, femicide, rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and stalking. We also have an increase in the utilization of new technology. Technology are there to assist us, but sometimes perpetrators abuse this technology to do GBV, and then you fall victim as a student. You also need to take responsibility, and we will leave the information to read about it consistently, because an empowered student is a student that can either save themselves from becoming a victim, but also if they are a survivor of this GBV, that they know what support there is. We also offer support to perpetrators, that we can assist them to stop with perpetrating any form of GBV. I also just want to focus on some of the effects. There's a physical effect, and we know that it can be on different levels as well. There's mental effects of post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and due to prolonged sadness, there's anxiety, there's low self-esteem, and you can just see how this will impact on your studies if you are in a situation where you are a victim of GBV. And we want to ask you, we will leave our contact details at the end of the slideshow to contact us, that we can give you support. It's also emotional taxing to be a victim of GBV, whether in your past, in your current, it will have an impact on your studies. Hence, we work very close with counseling. Then our other section is our student governance section, and these are the team and the unit that provide support to student structures. We have a number of workshops that we do. We induct our SLC when they are elected, and I want to announce that this year is the year for SLC elections. 2023 is our new SLC elections. So you will be able to make your mark and to be part of choosing who you want to be as your SRC, who will represent you. We also support our student parliaments, both on regional and national level. We support the SRC with policy development, with some form of team buildings and capacity buildings. And our SRC elections is also very unique. And we want to ensure access for everybody to vote, because it's a privilege to vote. And with your vote, you take responsibility of who will represent you. And then we have an online system. In our students governance section, we also have different programs, because we very committed to support our SLC to be successful. Hence, you will see our SLC members are sometimes pre-grad students, they're graduate students, and they are successful in life when they leave our institution. We see to career path planning for them, and we also look at some rewards when you participate in student governance. Dear students, this leaves me to the end of my presentation, but throughout your journey, throughout your student walk, we will be there to hold your hands and to support you. It will be your responsibility to take it up and participate in all our programs that we offer. Program Director, Ms. Mongope, is here on the platform to respond to any inquiries. I leave our contact details. We have a dedicated student health and wellness email, but also on MyUnisa, the SLC specific details can also be retrieved. And that brings me to the end of my presentation, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Ms. Leroux, for that presentation of the programs, co-curricular programs that are available in your space that students can benefit from. Those issues about GBV, the issues about student governance are also important, so students can take them up. So if you could also just include the contact information in the chat, or any other additional information for students to take home with. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for withstanding that we are way beyond the time that we had planned to be here, but thank you for staying with us. We really appreciate it as we go into the last presentation from the National Student Representative Council. If Ms. Gumbi could go ahead and usher us out with this last item, and we will then adjourn until tomorrow. Thank you, Ms. Gumbi. You may go ahead.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Is my slide visible? Is it showing?
They are showing. If you can be on presentation mode and go for it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Greetings to colleagues and greetings to the largest constituency of the University of South Africa. My name is Talent Nonjabulo Gumbi. I am the NSRC undergraduate officer. And I will be presenting on understanding the role of the Student Representative Council, which is the SRC, in the institution of the University of South Africa. And then on the next slide, before I can engage on the roles, it is rather important to also explain a bit what Student Representative Council is and what it is about. The Student Representative Council is a statutory structure as provided for in the Higher Education Act. The SRC offers a variety of services to individual students and different student groupings. And in offering these services, the SRC exercises political, economical, and administrative authority in order to manage the activities of student life. As such, the SRC is the highest decision-making student governance at the University of South Africa. And then, what are the roles of the Student Representative Council? Before actually I can go on, other interests include decision-making in the governance structures and committees of the universities, such as the council, college boards, and the student funding committee, amongst others. The SRC is also responsible for contributing effectively to the policy-making discourse Can you hear me?
We lost you for 1 second, but we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. To the policy-making discourse of the university to enhance teaching and learning, research, and community engagement. On student services, what do we offer? To present students in institutional governance structures, to ensure fairness and representation of students in student disciplinary hearings, to advocate for quality education and a conducive environment in all UNISA sites of learning, to ensure that the university honors its obligation of excellent service towards all students as stated in its service charter, to attend to students' dissatisfaction and to ensure redress thereof, to liaise with UNISA management consistently to ensure improved service delivery to students. Participation, which is going to be in line with the definition of governance. Participation in institutional decision-making structures, advising and supporting the delivery of effective and efficient student support services, managing and administering student representation at different levels, and also advising on the development of academic programs and student learning experiences. And then before I close, as Ms. Lizette Leroux has spoken, that as the SRC, we are for student support and whatever it is that is student-based, we are there to address it. She also mentioned that we'll be having elections, which will be underway very soon, and would also like to encourage students to participate in the SRC elections and also to learn more on what SRC is about and also to engage us even further. We have a group chat that we have managed to create where we assist students with all their issues, whatever issues that they have at hand. So I will provide the group chat link on the chat so that we can be able to engage from here going forward. But otherwise, that is basically the snippet of what SRC is all about, and we are here for students. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Gumbi. Thank you very much for that. I have picked up that students have got a lawyer in you. as a representative of their academic needs, support needs, that they can always knock on your door. I think that group chat is going to be very important for them to be a part of, so that they know that their issues can be attended to, but just also to give them a voice through that group chat for their issues to reach you, so that you can take those issues up with the university management and the decision-making structures that you indicated you are also involved with. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that, Ms. Gumbi. And ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of today's session. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for staying with us. Many of you may have been affected by many other issues, load shedding and all, but thank you very much for being here today. Tomorrow we meet again, 12 o'clock midday, for another session where we are going to be talking about academic support services. We'll be touching on the library, tutoring, academic student support, counseling, academic literacies, digital literacies, and so on. So we are hoping that you can join us tomorrow so that we can unpack the academic support programs, and you will be then well on your way to continue with your journey with us here. Colleagues, thank you very much for manning the chat. Thank you, and we'll see each other again tomorrow. Have an incredible day further until we meet again, colleagues and dear students. Thank you.